Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Of course, we are here. It is a Tuesday evening. This fine, I want to say warm, but it's not warm because it's not warm in Texas yet, but this fine Tuesday evening here in Texas as usual. So this is Seat Time, the online show for the off-road enthusiasts where we're going to try to enjoy a pint full of awesome while beer drinking and bench racing through all of the fun off-road shenanigans that have gone on in the world. This is episode 19, and when I say 19, I actually mean 119, so 100 plus that. Can you teach me math? I don't think I know what's going on.
You don't want me to.
So I am Brian Pierce. I am your host for this evening. Why that's relevant is because obviously we have more than just myself sitting on the couch this evening. This is Jordan Bailey, and she's been on the show quite a few times before. We'd love to get her insight, especially when we talk about all of the fun GNCC racing. Before we get totally started into the show, I definitely have to say, one, thank you to all of our sponsors, people like Fly Racing, of course. Things going on in the background. Fly Racing, fantastic supporters of Seat Time. Ride PG, where Mr. Bolton, they have their own redheaded stepchild. Who doesn't want that? And then, of course, the guys over at Stillwell Performance. All fantastic supporters and sponsors of Seat Time, and we really, really appreciate that. Second, big thanks to everybody that purchased one of the Keep Calm and Brap-On tanks that's going to be keeping you looking sick this summer. We tried that new fundraising thing through Teespring. Things have seemed to go pretty well. Hopefully once we get the product shipped to us, everything looks kosher. So big thanks to that. We will have another pint full of awesome award this fine evening, and that'll be great. So, and Stephen, in case you haven't seen that image is in the folder where it typically lives, so that way you can peruse the images. So as we go into this, that's it. We're gonna jump in here. This is our preseason show for the 2014 GNCC season. Let's just go ahead and say hello, guest. How are you doing this fine evening? So, hello, guest. How are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing good. How about you?
And then, of course, we could bring up our redheaded stepchild and his lost lover, if you will. Jared Bolton and Jeremy Sale are over there in some other state. How are you guys doing?
Great. Excellent. I drove 500 miles to be here tonight.
It's totally worth it.
You drove 500 miles to give me your seed! Whoa.
This is going to be way more interesting than I thought. I have a feeling. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I know it's going to be a fantastic endeavor, and we're going to talk, hopefully, all things GNCC, whether they want us to or not. And then, of course, National Enduro Series just picked up, so we got a lot of news there to chat on. And our buddy Zach Huberty is actually going to join in on our little Google Hangout a little bit later to chat as well. I wanted to talk a bit about the fact that here in Texas, we just had one of our local series, TCCRA, start up this past weekend. We're Texas, right? We don't typically, we've talked about how bipolar this state is. And I think I would just prefer Jordan to tell us about how batshit crazy it was out there in Bridgeport, Texas.
In typical Texas fashion, we had 80s, was it higher than that on Saturday?
Oh, it was, yeah. You wanted vintage gear on Saturday.
Yeah, oh yeah. Sweating, hot, dry, dusty on Saturday. And Sunday, it was, I think the high was 23, and that was in the morning. Got colder all day, sleeted, snowed. We raced in sleet. It was disgusting.
So, do you have frostbite on your fingertips?
I honestly thought I did have frostbite after the race. I jumped back in the truck as soon as I got back, and I might have started crying because my hand hurt so bad, and it was just stuck like this. I was like, ah.
Now, Jared, you don't think that Jordan would actually cry, do you?
Nah, she's like pretty tough to me.
If anybody's gonna cry first, it's gonna be Coop.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Mainly because they didn't have this.
If I was there, it'd probably be me.
Well, we always know you're gonna be the first one to cry. I think that one of the things that Cooper would have been looking for, as myself, because I have very sensitive nipples as well, is some heated Band-Aids to cover up the little nips, because that That's the next thing that Fly Racing should bring out. They came out with the windproof jersey, which works phenomenal in those situations. But maybe when it's like just windy, but not windproof Band-Aid. I have a feeling a few ladies would probably enjoy that as well. Maybe not taking them off.
No. That sounds rough.
There is no yes to that, folks. It's only a no. Well, Jared and Jeremy. Jeremy, we know that you just drove 500 miles. You're obviously probably just past halfway on the way to Florida. So what did you guys do this past weekend, and was it awesome?
Well, I've been on the Supercross tour, so I was wherever the hell that was this weekend. I wake up some mornings and go, where am I? So where were we?
You were in Indy.
I was in Indy, and it was cold as hell. What? Huh? What?
You were in Indy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Indy. I've done all the Supercrosses so far.
Well, what did you think? What did you think about the track? I thought it was pretty awesome because I really enjoy it when it gets nice and ruddy like that, because it really does add a whole nother dynamic. Being there and being involved with the whole scene, was that cool? Bad? Did people hate it? What was the kind of talk of the town, if you will?
I mean, on our side of it, it was rough trying to keep up with the track. I mean, even during qualifying practice during the day, it was just falling apart so quickly. So, yeah, it's awesome that for a more ruddy track, it creates better racing. But on the other side of it, it's a very hard thing to keep that track a track. And stuff like that wall they had this weekend towards the end of the lap, that thing was just deteriorating so crazy. But it was cool. I love being on the East Coast and closer to home and real dirt and not that whatever that crap is that we have out in California. So it's always good to be back.
Oh, sweet. Well, what was it? Oh, you were talking about the track deteriorating. I thought it was interesting. We saw there when Martin Davalos went down because of the fact that he kind of jumped onto what looked like some of the plywood, maybe showcased coming through after one of the 180-degree turns, and he landed on it, probably was just kind of like getting on the throttle, and it zipped him off to the left. They didn't really seem to show any more of that on TV, but was there more exposed parts that we just probably didn't know about?
Yeah, last week and this week, there were a few spots where the plywood was coming through, and it's just kind of one of those things. Everybody's hitting the same spot every lap, so it's so hard to keep up with. But yeah, I definitely noticed from our vantage point, 7 stories high in the announcer's booth, that there were some places where there was definitely some plywood, but it's just kind of one of those things that's hard to keep up with.
You're like, man, is that a chick without a shirt on, or is that plywood coming through the track? I'm not really figuring it out here.
Yeah, you pull out the binoculars and try to see what the hell's going on down there.
Well, cool. Well, we know you have a lot of fun doing that. It sounds like you've been doing that for quite a few years. I think what you need to do is you need to start your own fun shenanigans and have random pictures. I think you take good pictures, but you need to have like the random life of Bolton and what he does. You need to take some more goofy pictures, I think, on the shenanigans of the road of your life.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll just for you, I'll make sure that at least once a week something crazy gets posted to the internet.
Dig it. The internet needs it.
Create a different social media account that's not linked directly to me.
We can make something up. We'll call it.
I'll send them to Bolton, and he can post it.
Yes, we haven't figured out, because even though everybody knows Bolton, nobody ever cares what Bolton does. So it works
Seems
out
he
great.
gets away with just about anything.
So Bolton, what about you? What the heck were you up to this past weekend?
I went and rode the National Enduro. Notice I said rode, not raced.
Oh yes, absolutely. Sometimes
That's
you just
pretty much
go.
That's pretty much how my performance was. It was kind of like I rode around and not really raced. I did that via row 3. Now, if you've never ridden a really early road in Enduro, basically you have to follow the arrows. But, I noticed something. It's kind of hard to follow the arrows when there's not many of them.
Yes, I think our local Troy Green would agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't do a very good job, did they?
I don't mean to knock anybody, but there could have been some more arrows, and there definitely could have been a lot more ribbon. I mean, it's kind of dangerous when you're coming around a field wide open, and all of a sudden the track turns back left in the woods, and there's like 2 arrows stuck on a tree inside of the woods when you're out in the field. I mean, I guess you just have to be a magician and just know it's there.
I think Mike Lafferty then needs to work on his magician skills, because he was one of the top riders that got lost in one of the sections. Cost him around 2 minutes, he said, for him to figure it out and kind of get turned around and back on track.
Yeah, I'm really, I mean, given what I do, I'm really, really good at following arrows, and I definitely got turned around more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, probably a good dozen times got turned around, and actually off the track and kind of lost probably 2 or 3 times.
Well, that's no fun. But one of the things that I do like about enduros, typically, now obviously this may not have been for you, the case for you, but typically you can follow arrow to arrow to arrow. That's the way I like to mark, and I know other people would as well. But maybe we need to work with them a little.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was joking about it. I got a whole box of arrows. I was gonna just kind of take them and just give them to them.
Like, hey guys, this is your trophy.
I
More arrows, figure it out.
I wouldn't even say anything. I'd just take them and just kind of.
Yeah, this is my suggestion as a Racer Productions trail member.
That's my suggestion as a person who puts on races.
Right.
Sure.
Unaffiliated with anybody other than myself.
Would be happy, yes.
Well, as I've kind of got the computer up here with the notes and all that kinds of fun stuff, you guys are chatting about what's going on. I see messages popping up from my family, and they're kind of like, has there been any news of the birth? Is Nora here yet? So for those of you who don't know, my wife is pregnant. She's actually very pregnant. She is 41 weeks pregnant, and so she is very much diligently waiting for some serious contractions to start so she can slide that baby on out. So if, for some strange reason, though it's not likely, she's not in labor now, but if for some strange reason in the next hour and a half she does happen to just need to bolt, I'm going to run out of here and we're going to take care of that, and Jordan is going to be the new me. Luckily enough, she can do more push-ups than I can. She's way more attractive than I am, and she probably is going to be able to be way more understood. So I have a feeling that we're in good hands. So that's just a good precursor to everybody, in case all of a sudden you're like, wow, why are just Brian's clothes left on the couch? That might be a whole nother problem, but just in case you don't see my space anymore.
Will you be leaving her the mustache?
Ooh.
The question is, why are you going to be going to the hospital naked?
I figure that's the easiest way for them to let me in. They're like, go straight to the ward. Okay. I don't know. Maybe? Probably not.
Whatever works down in Texas.
Yeah, we do things a little bit differently here for sure.
We're special.
Yeah, we are special. Well, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the National Enduro stuff. So, Steven, this is your cue to tell Mr. Zach Huberty that he's going to be coming on the show soon. So we're going to bring that up. And it's good, too, because we got to find out that, I didn't even know this, that Mr. Jared Bolton was there actually at the Sandlapper racing. We did notice that Mr. Charlie Mullins came away with first place in a very dominant fashion, even to the point where he started to feel like he got a little lost and maybe didn't know where he was going in the last section, which was A only, that he took his time and kind of said, you know what, I'm at a good lead, I'm just going to kind of mail this one in, which I guess at that point he has complete ability to do, so whatever.
That must be really nice.
Yeah. It was really cool to see Jesse Grome come away with second place there on the podium. He's on the new his new team that he is on this year with the Dirtwise guys there for the Enduros. Really cool with the program that he's got going on. And then, of course, Stuart Baylor in third, Nick Farringer in fourth, and Mike Lafferty there in fifth. Stuart Baylor in third, really impressive because of the fact of his wrist injury. I think a lot of people were questioning how that was going to affect him. I think with that, though, he says that he's kind of trying to put his effort in towards the GNCC or to the Enduros. So versus the GNCC. Now, he will be doing all of them, but he thinks that because of the fact that the GNCCs are 3 hours straight, that his wrist is going to really deteriorate a lot quicker than it would in the Enduros, where it's a lot of sprints and then a little bit of a rest, sprint, a little bit of a rest, things like that. So
that's interesting.
I don't know. So what kind of besides there being like over 700 entries, Bolt-On, what did you think about some of the guys up there that how they placed at the National Enduro?
Well, I mean, obviously, other than Russell Bobbitt getting hurt,
Oh, that sucks. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a bummer, but it was just about what I expected as far as results go. I memean, obviously Charlie being last year's champion, he was a clear favorite coming into the race. And then Stu Baylor coming back, you know, he's had a little bit of time on the bike. Everybody expected him to do good. And obviously you can never count out Nick Farringer, even though Farringer never really does all that well at the Sandlapper. I think the past few years he's got a few years ago he got 8th, and I think last year he got 6th. So for him to get 4th, that's almost like a win for him.
Yeah, the chat room just brought up Cole Hensley's toe. So that was.
Yeah,
did you
I saw a picture of that.
Did you see the picture that he sent us the picture of the actual toe with the skin removed, and we posted that on Instagram, and that is gnarly, dude. Like, holy crap.
It looked fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that while I was driving down the road today. That was awesome.
You shouldn't be looking at Instagram while you're driving. P.S.
I posted one just a little bit ago.
I did. You were like, what was it, rolling in hot or something?
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. Yeah.
Down Tobacco Alley to the Bolt-On compound.
Well, I think I see somebody joined in on our little hangout there, Mr. Zach. Can you hear us just fine, and can you talk?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We like it when you talk to us. So we're chatting a little bit about the National Enduro this past weekend. We know that you went down there. You were doing a lot of picture taking for Innovation Off-Road, a lot of reporting for Innovation Off-Road, maybe some interviews for Innovation Off-Road. So from your standpoint as a media person there, trying to get your feet wet in how to do a different job of reporting on these events, how was it for you, and what did you think about the event?
I mean, it was a hectic weekend. I mean, you're constantly, I was in a car with the Thomases, and we're bouncing from, check in to check out just to catch, road 21 through, I guess it was like 46. And, I don't know, you're constantly moving, you're running around nonstop.
So, do you think that you're still friends with the Thomases, or do they now want you to figure out your own way to and from the races?
Yeah, I'm still friends with them. It was actually it was a pretty fun weekend, and we pitted for Jesse Grome and then Rory Mead and Shane Watts. So, I don't know, as you can assume, it was, pretty fun hanging out with them for the weekend.
Yeah, for sure, I bet. As you've been to quite a few Enduros before. You now bumped up to AA in your local series there, which is awesome. But you didn't go to race this event. You went there to cover this event. So, what are kind of some of your thoughts on things that you learned as a media person while at the Sandlapper?
I mean, you just get a totally different perspective when you're there, and that you're covering from the media standpoint. And awesome. I mean, one thing I really noticed throughout the day was just, how demanding some of the sections were. I know, like Mullins in the first section, he wadded up in a field, and then, Bobbitt wadded up in another section, and I mean, it's just a hectic day. And Jesse, after the first section, he was pissed off because his bike just wasn't working well enough, and then he lit a fire under him for the rest of the day. But yeah, it was a fun day.
Did you figure, after all of the chats that we've had with different videographers and photographers and stuff like that, did they have any tips that you heard while listening to the show that helped you out while you were out there taking pictures?
Just the tip.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't, I guess I haven't received, a ton of advice on that, but I think you definitely earn a different respect for the different media people out there and how they're going from section to section.
Yeah, I saw a picture of you taking a pic. I saw a picture of you taking a picture of a bike, and it looked like you were using your LCD display opposed to your viewfinder on the camera. So I can tell you now, if you're trying to do that for action shots, you're never going to get a good one because the camera's going to be thinking too much about focusing and trying to focus and show you in the display. what's going on. So especially in action shots, make sure you're only using the viewfinder and don't even keep the display on. Just use it for information on the picture, like histogram and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely try that out, and whatever tips like that I can learn, I'll definitely put them to use.
Yeah. Well, you had said that you thought Mike Lafferty was going to come away in 8th from one of your articles that you wrote on Innovation Off-Road in the preseason. Now, he came away 5th. Obviously, that's 3 places away from 8th. They're pretty good. But if he hadn't have gotten lost, he probably would have been on the podium. So how do you feel about, were there any other, or were there any disconnects that you felt with the way things worked out versus what you had kind of thought up beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, he's such a veteran, and he has those 8 championships, and I guess my opinion coming into it was that there's so much young talent right now in the sport, and I really thought some of these other guys, this is their time to shine, and I thought Andrew would maybe be a little further up there, but they were breaking in bikes Saturday morning, so both him and Bobbitt were kind of a few steps behind, and what?
They're like, I'm gonna go seat a piston really quick, warm this engine up some.
Well, yeah, and I guess they took their 450 suspension and put it on the 350, and that didn't work out, so they had to go back to remodifying everything just to get it to work right. And
does anybody here know why that doesn't work? Taylor Robert learned this lesson the hard way.
It probably has to do with the torque of the motor and just the way the casting reacts.
Yep, absolutely. So that 350 and the 450 put out so much the dynamics of the bike, the mechanics of the way the engine's going to work and the way the bike's going to feel. And if you try to take suspension off that's essentially keyed for a 450, is just not going to work. It's going to be way too heavy sprung and valve different for a 350 or even a 250. And Taylor Robert learned the hard way on that. It sounds like Andrew DeLong might have been, even though they were just testing it, might have been pretty close to learning the hard way on that one too.
Yeah, but even he picked it up throughout the day, and if you look at his last couple of tests, those are definitely his best.
Yeah, you could tell he was getting used to the bike and really kind of warming up and just figuring things out. So did you have any of fun random bits and use of knowledge? Mr. Bolton said that it was not aeroed very well. Do you have any other thoughts on how maybe Mr. Bolton become a better rider and less reliable on the club to make him find the trail?
I mean, I don't know anything about the aeroing, but in the last section of the day, there were all these stumps that were maybe 10 inches high, and you couldn't see them. But as the riders came through, they just got taller and taller as they got dug up. And I thought the coolest thing was Mike Lafferty came out and started pointing lines for the pro riders in back of him. And I think one of the main reasons was that Ryder was coming through. So as soon as Ryder came through and he pointed, to Ryder not to hit the stump, then he ended up leaving. But I don't know, it was a cool aspect.
Yeah, for sure. But Bolton, you probably, my assumption is that you did not race the last section, which would be the A only section.
That is correct. I rode through the B cutoff, and that was it. And even if I was fast enough to be an A rider at the moment, I probably wouldn't have rode the A section, because by that point, keep in mind, I've ridden in the past 3 or 4 months. I've ridden maybe 3 times. So I was about dead, and my wrist. This wrist now still hurts, which is odd that it's my left wrist. I missed out on that. I missed out on that A only section.
I see what you did.
Well, I wanted to know, Jordan, if you've done any of the national enduros that have kind of come through Texas throughout the past couple of years.
I've never done any in Texas. We did one in Indiana. Is that right, Cooper? A couple years ago, and it was freaking awesome.
Yeah. Well, that we've got the round 2 of the national enduro series is going to be in Blackwell, Texas.
Yep, that's really far west.
What? It's 3.5 hours. You guys have driven 18 hours in one day.
But now we're weenies, so we just are an hour and a half. No, but when is that race? I don't even know what the date is.
It's the 23rd, 24th.
Of this month?
Yeah.
23rd.
23rd. We'll have to think about that one.
I mean, we should know, but...
Yeah, we're racing.
What do you say, Cooper? What?
23rd.
Be after Archer.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna run a half marathon that weekend, but I quit that. So, because that's just stupid.
Because you're like, that's dumb. Yeah, March 23rd. So we'll be heading out there March 22nd.
We might have to do that.
No. You have to do it.
We have
We'll
to
talk
do
him
it.
into it. We'll talk him
All right.
into it.
Well, like I don't know about you, Bolton, but I haven't rode in a really long time until this weekend, and like my hands bruised. Does that ever happen to you?
Oh, no, that was a thumbs up. Like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Bolton's hands get used a lot more than his dirt bike riding muscles, so
They do.
he's always looking at Chester and like, hey, what's up, Chester? How you doing? I like it, Chester. I like it. Well, Zach, I didn't know if you had any profound thoughts for us on your first kind of experience there at the National Enduro in your role of CEO and entrepreneur of Innovation Off-Road.
I don't know. I mean, coming back from the weekend, the hardest thing is just, putting together a good story. And, I've gotten plenty of comments and emails lately just that, I need to talk more about the B and C riders, and especially like the women's class. And, some people, they're tired of hearing about the pro class. So, I don't know. I think for going forward, we'll maybe change the focus a little, but still keep, the pro coverage going. And, at the same time, give some of the A and B and C guys, a little bit of spotlight, and I think they'll appreciate that in the end.
Yeah, that's a tough sell, and a lot of reasons sometimes. I remember when I was over in Germany with Hoop for the ISDE. There were certain people that obviously praised him and like, man, thanks for doing what you're doing, blah blah blah, and other people that were literally bashing him because he was only filming like the top 10, the top 20 guys at the ISDE. I mean, luckily it wasn't just Americans, but still, like,
Yeah.
and I get it, but it's one of those deals where it's like he's over there for a specific purpose, and that purpose is to film all of the top ISDE riders and to bring footage that he knows his sponsors of his videos want to see. And so at that point, you just kind of got to turn it off. It's like the negative Nancys can be as negative as they want to be. I just got to make sure that I'm not just creating crap work. And then at that point, you're kind of, you're doing what makes you happy. And you got to make sure that you're doing what you want to do and not catering. Figure out what your vision is and do that. And if people don't like it, then that's okay. There are going to be those out there that do. So, I understand figuring out a way to try to keep everybody happy, but I can tell you right now, you won't. So, whatever it is you want to do, make sure that you just stay honest to that and honest to yourself about it. So.
Yeah, definitely. And, I definitely want to give, I know when I was coming up as like a B and C rider, to ever be mentioned in, say like Trail Rider magazine at the time, it was kind of like an honor, and, you talk about that with all your friends. So, I'd like to be able to do that for some other riders too, but at the same time, the pro riders, that's what sells, especially for the viewers and then for the advertisers. They want their riders in the media, and if they see them there, then they're mostly going to share it or put it on their own social media accounts.
Yep.
Yeah, sponsors cover the pro riders because they get the coverage. So.
Yeah, and they're better looking than I am. One day, man, I'm going to get in that fly racing catalog. I keep getting X-nayed. I'm just...
Yeah, just keep asking.
I will. Dale Spangler, don't you worry. One day I'm going to get you to cave. I may be like 80 years old and with a cane, but I'm going to be like, yeah, fly racing is awesome. Ah. And I do this because probably by that point, catalogs will be video. Because, who's going to want static pictures?
Right, what will that be?
Well, cool. Well, Zach, you're more than welcome to stay here and keep chatting with us about all the GNCC stuff, or you could drop off. Whatever it is, you're welcome to do it. But definitely, we're going to change gears a little bit. So congratulations to Charlie Mullins. I think with this kind of speed, we're going to be talking about all this stuff, but it looks like he's ready for 2014. And, of course, I'm happy to see Jesse Grome up there. Nick Farringer getting such a great finish for himself. One of the guys that I was really happy for was Martin Howell, local Texas guy. He got third place in the AA expert class. I know that he's been railing and really working hard to try to get a couple overalls here in Texas. Guys like Cole Kirkpatrick and Hayden Franklin super high caliber riders, definitely national level. That's who he's competing against. So he's obviously got some good competition. So I'm hoping that he can make it to more nationals and really start to break into the top 15 and then maybe one day the top 10. So good job, Mr. Martin Howe. As we switch over, we're going to talk a little bit about our friends at Fly Racing. So of course, before we get into the GNCC stuff, I definitely want to say thank you to our fine folks over at Fly Racing. They're big supporters of Seat Time, and we would love it if you would go check their site out, flyracing.com. And one of the products that I've been using a lot lately is their active jerseys. These are great because of the fact that you could wear them like T-shirts if you wanted to. If it's we haven't had too many hot days yet here in Texas, but they're really good for just going to the track or wearing out to the track, wearing back from the track when you're sweaty and hot and nasty. Excuse me. And then as well, they're good for mountain bike rides, working out and all that kind of fun stuff, and they're sexy looking.
Totally.
So it's like banging. So yeah, go check that out. Of course, they are a huge sponsor of the Pintful of Awesome Award, which we would like to give away right now. And I had a winner picked out, but then I got in one which was still before 6 p.m., so that's the cutoff.
Was the other winner me?
No, but yours was a good picture.
Thank you.
Yours was a good picture.
I'll never win.
I don't know. Like if you weren't on the show tonight,
maybe I'd have a chance.
You would have a chance, but I think it would be a little jaded.
That would be wrong.
Hey, what's up, co-host? Here you go. You get some free stuff.
Yeah, people wouldn't probably take too kindly.
We're already getting a lot of free coolness right now.
I know, right?
So.
That's right.
So Martin Ryerson, hell yeah, you are definitely the winner for the Pintful of Awesome Award. This dude, the picture that he posted, and we shared it on our Facebook page, he got a stick through his upper lip while riding like 15 minutes into a ride, and then freaking...
He deserved to win.
Yeah, he just like totally... he stopped by the plantation that they were riding by, had some staff members help him pick it out of his face, put a Band-Aid on it, kept riding, and went and got it stitched up so that his girlfriend could make sure that his moneymaker was still good to go. And by that, I definitely mean his face.
Obvious.
I mean, I don't know if he's into porn, but it was definitely the stick was in his face. So, congratulations! Yay! Thanks to Fly Racing for supporting Seat Time and for helping support such an awesome award. Everybody get out there and tag Pintful of Awesome on all these fun different social media areas, or you can send them to us like this. This is another great way. I think this is fantastic that he kind of sent this directly to me. So do it. I'm fun with it. We want it to be fun. So 2014, the GNCC season is coming up quickly. We're going to be down in Florida. We're going to be at a new venue. I'd like to hear straight from the horses' mouths, the two men next to each other on the couch. What do you guys think about this new venue, and what is it going to bring for the racers?
I think it's going to be good. It's always good to go somewhere new. River Ranch is a great place, but, anywhere, over time, it just becomes necessary to try something different.
Absolutely.
So I think Mud Buckers will be good, and I think it'll definitely help the race itself being a lot closer to Daytona. A lot closer, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, how far away were you guys before from Daytona?
Oh God, like 3 hours.
Oh yeah. Wow, yeah, that's a lot further.
Yeah, we were like
past Orlando, right?
To the Everglades. It was really far south. Yeah. So this being about 20 minutes from Daytona is going to be a huge difference.
Sweet, man, dude, that'd be awesome if we could get some Supercross guys out there like we had before. Zach Osborne's still out with his shoulder though, or the collarbone, right?
Yeah, I think so. But
yeah.
So that'd be good. That probably won't happen, to be honest, because Osborne's about the only one that's willing to do it, just because he's a badass like that.
Yeah, a badass.
I think it'll still definitely draw some more people, and it's cool because we can go see some slaw wrestling too in Daytona for Bike Week.
Cabbage Patch, yes.
Wait, explain to me what you just said.
There's a bar, and it's kind of outside of Daytona. It's on a back road, and you have to know where it is. And it's called the Cabbage Patch. And during Bike Week, they do cabbage wrestling at a big pool.
OMG. How bad does that smell after the fact?
Google it sometime. Yeah. There's some real classy broads that.
Yeah, Google the Cabbage Patch. It's worth to Google.
All right, Bolt on. Are you gonna go find the love of your life? What you're saying is you're not opposed to it, right?
What I'm saying is, if I say something and my girlfriend sees this, she'll be mad.
So what you're saying is the
Wise
night
man.
before you leave, she's gonna be like, "Hey, don't do anything stupid, cause you got me when you get home." Was that sexy? Did that look sexy? I mean, I don't. It honestly didn't feel that sexy.
It's just going to
They're
be
saying
awkward
no.
next week when he's still finding cabbage in places where cabbage shouldn't be.
That's very yeah. That sounds gross, and I'm
Awkward.
afraid.
I want to know how you found out about this. Like, if you have to know where it's at, how do you come across something like this?
I think it gets passed
I've got
down,
family
right?
that lives down- I've got family that lives down there, so I've learned about it. It's also close to Spruce Creek, which is a really good mountain biking place down there. So I've
Well,
driven
that
by
makes
it.
sense. Mountain biking.
Family reunions,
Cabbage
mountain
wrestle.
biking, cabbage wrestling. Dude, whenever I get a chance to go to bike week, shit is on. Do they let
God,
dudes do
on the
that?
bike week. It's amazing.
Do they let dudes cabbage wrestle, or is it only chicks in very large bikinis? I can imagine. Oh gosh. Okay. So for those of you that are in the know, which would be Bolton and Jeremy Saylor, what property wise, what should we expect different from this piece of property in Florida?
The terrain's a good bit different. It's more of it's definitely more of a black sand, a little more clay mixed in. So black sand is like completely different than white sand, not just in color. That'd be the obvious thing, but it's just it's more tacky and it just sticks to everything more. And really, it's kind of more it's more like a swampy type sand. So that's good, and there's also a little more room to work with. Whereas River Ranch I can't remember the exact size of River Ranch, but Mud Muckers is 11,000 acres. So, there's a little bit to work with there.
I want to know where you guys get these new names lately, because when you added the Carmate Gusher, I couldn't contain myself. Like, that is the greatest shit ever. And now you got Mud Muckers.
Yeah, Mud Muckers is actually the name of the facility, so we can't take credit for that one.
Yeah.
So do you guys find these people specifically? Like, hey, one of the things is you have to have a really weird name. Like,
Criteria.
yeah. Thank you. A smart person word
The
over here.
requirement was that they had a Mexican restaurant.
Ooh.
That's the other requirement. You have to have a Mexican restaurant within a 30-minute vicinity.
You have to make sure that everybody can crap their pants while racing because of the fact that they ate Mexican.
Mexicans
Do you guys
never
remember
pre-race.
like Vero Beach in Melbourne and those venues from a few years ago?
I
Vero
don't, but I know
Beach.
the Baileys would.
Yeah.
That's more of the type of terrain that we're going to have here.
So
We're
more
way
palmettos.
into the coast. We're only about 15 minutes from the ocean at the track. So you've got that, plus being a lot further north in Florida.
Very cool. Very cool.
Cool.
Well, I'm excited to see some of the footage. It's going to be neat, too, that you guys are going to be doing all the webcasts again. So, Jeremy, is there any new technology or fun internet mumbo-jumbo stuff that you guys have going on for us that are going to be watching from our couches around the world?
Big change for Racer TV this year is we're switching to live stream as our primary platform. So we're getting all the kind of stuff that goes along with live stream, with a better chat and a little bit better social engagement with everybody, and a lot easier to follow along, and there's not going to be all that registering and kind of the stuff that weighed the show down a little bit last year. And then also we got all new cameras this year, so
Whoa.
we're pretty excited about that, better zoom on them. And we are adding a wireless camera setup at the pits, so we'll actually be able to go on the other side of the track now at the pits and be in the pit areas and get a lot more up close stuff. So
opposed to being like on the rail, zooming
right,
in
we won't have
into
to
the
stay
pits.
outside on the rail anymore. When we had a cabled camera there, so should be cool because we'll be able to move around a lot more in the pits and get in close with what's going on there.
Yeah, that's
That'll be
cool. I
cool.
remember when that I saw some. Maybe it was Instagram or something that you guys had some pictures of
Yeah,
that.
was that Jen?
Yeah, I think that was Jen. That's right. That was Kenyon that had
It
that.
looks like a Ghostbusters contraption.
Oh.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yep, that's what it is. It's got Slimer in there. Coming to you live from the GNCC races. Start in Florida.
Who you gonna call?
Jen Kenyon. Yes. So. Oh, and Jen Kenyon texted me back when I was telling her that we were doing the preseason show. I was enthralled because sometimes she doesn't text me back. But. Sorry. Side note about my life.
Wow.
He's pretty pumped. It's a good day.
Retweet. Okay, so again, we do have a fellow ex-professional racer in our midst, who's working on getting her hands and blisters back up to par to possibly make it out to a couple more events. But they're going to have a women's XC class, so the WXC, new for 2014. Now, Bolton, give us an explanation here. Is this just a relabeled women's class that's still going to be in the 2-hour morning event, or is this now a women's XC class that will be in the 3-hour program?
It's still in the morning race. In a nutshell, it basically boils down to, mostly it's just a name change. And that came about because there's quite a few who wanted it labeled as a women's pro class, which is great, but unfortunately, when these girls would go to other series, if they wanted to ride an A class or even a B class, we felt like that would lead other people who can't handle getting beat by a girl to protest them, considering that they would technically be labeled a pro.
That's a really great point.
So that's where the name WXC came from. Basically, it's sort of like a compromise between, instead of just calling it women's and not calling it women's pro, sort of in between there.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good way to do it. How do you feel about that, Miss Bailey?
I feel like the name change will probably bring more sponsors for the girls, which I think we're seeing more of anyways, more teams picking up girls. Are they going to consistently start on the first row? Kind of have like their home spot there like the men's pro class would?
Yeah, I believe that's the plan. So far it is, so that should be good.
Yeah, I feel like anything that keeps that class consistent more and more people will pay attention to it and watch it, and that'll bring more sponsors for them.
Oh, opposed to it jumping around because of timing or things like that?
Yeah,
Where they would start?
We would start in different rows, and, I mean, people don't care too much about it all that much, but if we're consistent and they're starting to pay attention, then I think that'll bring more.
Yeah, and it was hard when
fans.
the women would be the fastest riders in the morning class, and they were starting behind C rows.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense. So
yeah.
From what we've seen from the row lineup so far, the women's class is going to be on the front row, and they've got that out a few races ahead now. So
Cool.
looks like they're going to be.
Jordan, did you have any thoughts on some of the ladies that are going to be out there? No, Jessica Patterson said she's going to be there for sure for the full season. Casey Martinez. I saw Hannah Otto mentioned. I think that she's supposed to be trying to make all the rounds in the new class. Or relabeled class, I should say.
Speaking of Hannah, I will gladly admit that she absolutely waxed me in 250B this weekend.
Are you saying that Hannah Otto was in the 250B class?
Yes, she got third.
That is pathetic. That woman needs to be in the A class.
Yeah,
the
but
national?
still, she got third.
That's pretty awesome.
See, that's what you're saying right there. You're saying she needs to be in the A class, and she still only got third. Exactly. See, I didn't do as bad as I thought.
Whatever makes you feel better.
Yeah, I just technically picked up a spot for Bolton. How much closer does that make you to getting a trophy, Bolton?
No, not close enough. Not at all.
Did you protest her, Bolton?
No,
I protest her. She's too good looking to be that fast. What the heck?
No, I find it awesome. Like, I like to race the guys class also, and I think it's awesome to beat y'all. I'm not gonna lie. It's like the biggest confidence booster ever. So that's awesome for her. I'm pumped.
So what's in a very masculine sense, we would be like, yeah, suck it, like, and grab our crotch in a very derogatory fashion. What would a woman kind of derogatory suck it pose be?
A guy or a girl?
Well, like, if you were to be like, yeah, suck it, like, how would that take place?
I don't know.
In a fair handshake?
That's why. Because it's not ladylike.
That's right. We're ladies.
Oh, man. Racing just went downhill. Come on, we gotta be all chauvinistic pigs and rah, 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 rah. It's not true, though. I'm like one of the nicest guys out there.
we all talk crap to each other, and like all the women's class, they're all like, "Oh, good job, good job," even if they hate each other.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's completely true because behind each other's backs, we're
We're
talking crap.
We did have a couple ladies for a while there that were like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna beat you because I slept with your boyfriend last night." Like all that kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah,
It may not even have been somebody's boyfriend. It may have just been another guy. It's like woohoo.
There's one girl that everybody does that too. They're all nice to her, but behind her back, they always
They all hate her.
Is that you? Is that actually you?
There's more than one. There's quite a few of them.
I don't know. I think we all get along pretty well, but when it's time to race, we're all serious about it. We all want to beat each other.
It all changes.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. The testosterone pumps proudly. Well, so I'm excited to see how that kind of works out, and it's cool to see Casey Martinez get Maria's spot, or the spot that Maria left open when she retired. And everybody's like, "Ooh, what's KTM gonna do? Are they gonna bring her kind of on full time and under the rig?" And they are, and that's neat to see for her. I'm excited for that, and it's starting to open the door for other racers.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Jessica Patterson that's been on the AmPro team?
Yeah, and also Becca Sheets, which I think is someone we need to
to
watch too, because she did very well last year, and I don't know, she has a good chance this year.
Which program is she on? Which team is she on?
She's on the AmPro team also.
She's on the AmPro team also. Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, so it's neat to see everybody getting a lot of support. And with support, of course, we get Corey Buttrick is back racing. He kind of made his debut this past weekend at the Sandlapper Enduro, and he's back on a beta. For a while there, there was kind of different brands that he had been talking to. I believe Sherco was one of those brands, and then Beta. And we had him on the show, and he had, after he had kind of made the announcement that he was coming back and going to be on Beta, did really good. He got 9th place this past weekend at the Sandlapper. It's going to be interesting because he's 2 years off. Like,
that's a long time.
In not just 2 years off, but 2 years injured and in recovery. Like, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does in those 3-hour-long events. Same thing with Stuart Baylor. I don't know how the GNCCs are going to go because of my wrist. How is Buttrick going to do because of his knee? So, Mr. Blackwater 100, what do you think?
I don't know.
That's good.
You're
You're like, I'm going to put a vintage T-shirt on, and everybody just going to think I'm cool.
Yeah. Obviously, Stu did pretty well this weekend. Now, I will say that he struggled a little bit with some setup stuff through talking to him, but obviously he didn't struggle that bad because he still put in a really good ride considering how much time he spent off the bike. But he has been back on and getting caught up and everything, so that's good. And like you were talking about Corey too, it's good to see Corey back as well.
Yes, that's it. This is good to see him.
And actually, I was looking in the chat room and I see somebody mentioned Chris Bach finishing 10th, and that's actually, well, you may think, he got 10th. That's the number 3 GNCC guy. A little fact about Bach is he absolutely hates tight woods. So for him to finish 10th on that CRF 450, which is pretty much a monster, that's pretty darn good considering he really doesn't like that type of terrain.
That's
That's
what have you heard about Bach? We had Johnny Campbell on. Things went really good. Chatting with him. It's been really hard to get in touch with Bach, even just to talk with him about how things have been going. Have you had a chance to catch up with him and kind of see how his experience has been going, testing and really getting used to that new 450?
Well, I mean, he hasn't been here in town in like a month.
He's been in Florida. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's been riding with Johnny Gallagher and Chris Borich, all the quad guys, and I mean, obviously riding with him works pretty good because he did the same thing last year. So basically, he's been doing that, adjusting to the Honda. His mechanic went down a couple weeks ago and got everything built up for him as far as a race bike. So he's pretty much good to go. And actually, what I didn't mention was the Enduro was pretty much a last-minute decision for him. He texted me on like Thursday or something and asked me what time he was getting there, and that's how I knew he was coming. He basically made the decision like Thursday afternoon to come do the Enduro.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
good on him.
I talked to him, I think it was Sunday morning a little, and the main thing he said, he was just out there for practice, and they had that JCR box fan there, and they had 3 JCR 450s in there, and I guess they were just riding his practice bike. But I mean, he seemed excited just to come out and ride for the weekend, maybe gauge his speed against some other guys.
Yeah. As everybody always talks about when Supercross comes around, you can train as much as you want and practice and stuff like that, but until you're racing, it's so hard to recreate that. And so I could imagine that situations like this, even though you're not head to head, it still can kind of give a little bit of a better feeling of how you're going to be out there when you start racing.
Just getting some race seat time. It's different than practice. Have a race, like I did that.
Yeah.
Have a race under your belt before the first GNCCs. I'm sure that adds a little bit more confidence.
So now you've got a race under your belt because you raced this past weekend, and you're going to come do the National Enduro.
There's maybe
in the March. I mean, I'm so glad that you were preparing for things that you didn't realize that you should be preparing for.
I know, it's crazy how it works that way.
I love it. So Rory Mead moving back to the XC2 class. Now, this is interesting, and I'm one of those situations where I'm not just trying to leave on bolt on for all this kind of information. It's just interesting because him being in with Racer Productions and a lot of the GNCC people, I know he's got more backstory on these kind of situations. So can you explain for us, like you did in the Tuesday Toolbox, about how and why this is okay for him to move back from the XC1 class to the XC2?
Absolutely. Yeah. Rory, if you remember, 2 years ago, Rory finished 3rd.
Yes.
The year before, he was 15th. So he went 15th, 3rd, and then this year he was 13th. Last year he was 13th. So he goes 15, 3, 13. So basically that's low number, high number, low number. Looking at it opposite. Anyway.
Good job,
So he has not finished.
I like math.
He has not finished.
I don't do math.
He has not finished in the top 10 the past 2 years, and he's never won XC2 or anything. He's actually never raced XC2. So there you go. He's eligible.
Bam. Well, there you go. There you go. And he's going to be on the Shane Watts Dirtwise team. I think that's pretty cool. When we were talking to Watts, we had him on the show about 2-3 weeks ago. He was announcing his riders and just kind of under the radar slipped in Rory Mead, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Rory Mead, we hadn't heard anything about him, and now he's going to be on this team and stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. And apparently he's going to try to be at some of the Enduros as well with Watts and with Grom. And then Thomas probably won't be. I think Thomas is his main guy to kind of do some of the schools. That's what he was doing this past weekend. So while Watts is out racing, trying to get his old bones working again, Thomas is going to be out doing that while everybody else is doing Enduros. Do we know officially what class Watts is going to be racing at the GNCCs, or if he is? I know when we were talking, he was thinking it was going to be an age class, but maybe XC2. Has there been any more chatter behind the scenes on that, Bolt-On?
I haven't heard him say anything else about it, but I haven't really talked to him recently. I mean, he rode 40 plus A this past weekend,
and he won it, didn't he?
He won it.
He was the fastest
overall. He won the overall A too.
He was overall expert too.
Jesus. I think he would have been just fine riding the expert class or the pro class. He probably would have done just fine. So.
Well, here's the crazy thing about this weekend is that the first 4 tests, he just stayed behind Rory, and everywhere we saw him, he was right on Rory. And then finally, the 5th test, he said something to Rory like, "Now let me lead, I'll pull you along," or something along those lines. And then you saw some of his last tests, he was 30 seconds ahead of Rory.
Good God. Come on, you young buck.
Yeah, who knows how far ahead he could have been if he, had been the leader the whole time. But I mean, he certainly looked good, and he's running that 200 instead of a 250, and just doing just as well.
We got a list of the notable riders for XC1 and XC2 for Racer TV to make our graphics and everything, and Watts is not listed. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that he's not doing it, but from all the information that we have at the office, he's not racing one of the pro classes.
Huh. Well, if he's racing at all, you're going to need to make a thing for him, because he's going to be up there, and he's going to be kicking ass, apparently.
That year, My claim to fame in GNCC is in 2007 when Shane Watts won Florida. I called it.
You're like, the job I have now is because of how great I am at guessing shit.
That morning, I told Jason Wygant, I'm going with Shane Watts today. And he's like, dude, you are fucking crazy.
And bam, it happened.
Boom. There he was.
Well, we had a good question from the chat room. We're talking about enduros. Has anybody heard anything about Thad Duvall and Lane Michael? Now, Thad Duvall was doing a lot of the enduros last year until they got hurt, and then concentrated on the GNCCs. Has there been any talk about those guys coming in from the Honda support with the National Enduros? I haven't heard anything, but
I haven't heard anything.
okay. I just wanted to double check while somebody was asking in the chat room. So we got Stuart Baylor Jr. Coming back.
That's like the AMSOIL ambassador for GNCC this year, so I'm sure his program is going to be highly focused on GNCC and him staying healthy for that championship.
Okay.
I just want everybody to know that we have a new mascot on the show this evening. This is one of my fat pugs. This is Izzy. He says,
Me and Izzy take lots of selfies.
yeah, he's a selfie king. We'll see if
I'm
we can.
just afraid to know why Jared Bolton just jumped up off the couch and ran out to the other garage.
Is he going to get Chester? He's going to pull out his cock. Hey, whatever you do, both of you guys can't touch Chester at the same time, because then it's weird. Oh, God. Izzy doesn't realize how famous he isn't right now.
Izzy, it's super selfie
Of all
time.
20 people watching Seat Time. So I think it's interesting with Stuart Baylor Jr. in one of the press releases, one of the quotes that he had saying that he was actually going to focus on the National Enduro because of the fact that he kind of outright thinks that the GNCCs are just going to be too much for his wrist. Did you, Zach, offhand, maybe overhear anything or get a chance to talk with him this past weekend that might allude to more or less of how he felt like he was doing after this past weekend?
No, I mean, when I was there Saturday talking to everyone, most of the KTM guys except for Lafferty were gone. Baylor went, I think, down to TNT and was breaking in his race bike. So I never talked to him the whole weekend, and same with Mullins. He was there but doing other things. But I did read in that one race, I think maybe it's KTM race report that said that he had kind of jarred his hand a little yesterday on Sunday in the race. So it'd be interesting to see, where he finishes coming this weekend.
Cool. Well, good. Jeremy, you guys are going to have Baylor in the trailer with you on Saturday for the webcast. So is that exciting for you, or is that more of a nuisance than anything?
No, Stu did a great job with us last year. So we're pretty pumped to have him back again.
For sure.
And then we're going to have Johnny Gallagher for the Sunday shows this year. So.
Right, so you're going to have the moto guy covering the ATV races and the ATV guy covering the moto races with Rodney?
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, Hot Rodney's going to be back again.
Oh, yeah. Everybody likes a good hot rod.
The dog's getting handsy.
No, Stu really embraced that last year, so I think he's pretty excited to keep going on it, too.
Right? Well, it turns out that Steven and I are trying to put together a chance for us to make it out to Big Buck. I had been texting a lot with Bolt On about it, and we may be out there doing some filming for somebody. We haven't solidified everything yet for the weekend, but if we make that happen, I'll probably race the Sunday race, the morning race, just because I won't feel like racing for 3 hours because Cooper's talked me out of that. He told me that's stupid, don't do it, you're going to hate life, do the 2 hour race. I was like, you got it, Mr. Man. Did you see the dog hair go everywhere? And but then when I was thinking, I was like, it'd be really cool is if I could help you guys do the webcast on Sunday afternoon for the afternoon races.
Yes.
Just saying.
I like how you put him on the spot. Like, you can't say no on the air. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, you can totally come help. You can come sit at my spot in the woods and do my job. And I'll go do something else.
I specifically said in the trailer. That is what I just volunteered myself.
No, I think you have to. I think you need to be out on the course and you need to somehow get in each cameraman's shot at some point during the race.
I need to give him a shot. Oh, like liquor.
No.
Get in their shot.
Oh, get in this.
Like, you need to like have like a costume on and like walk through the shot.
Oh yeah, we could get a big Chester costume, like we could all wear a big rubber chicken costume, or I could get like a Sasquatch costume, or something like that.
We've been wanting to do the Sasquatch thing, just with one of the cameras just sitting out in the woods.
I like
Do
it.
some kind of Sasquatch skit.
Can said Sasquatch drink beer?
I cannot confirm that.
I cannot confirm or deny these actions by said Sasquatch. I understand. Well, cool. So that'd be fun though if we could make something happen for Big Buck. I want to know from you, Miss Bailey, what you happen to think about the new Husky team. It's really cool. We've got so many teams coming that have been announced for GNCC. I think one of the ones that was seems like it was kind of so quick to get put together, but done right, I still think, was the new Husky team. And Andrew DeLong on that bike is going to be awesome. I mean, still working out the National Enduros, but yeah, I mean, wowzers. So how do you think a new team kind of coming in this, obviously it's not new racers, it's not new management. These guys know what they're doing, but at the same time, they're using a lot of new technology to them. To set people
Totally
involved.
put on the spot.
Isn't it new management?
It is new management.
Yeah, but they're not. It's new to Husky.
Yeah, the team manager. Actually, let me give you a little backstory. I've been hanging out with these guys for like the past week. The team manager is Andy Jefferson, who used to be a pretty good motocrosser back in the day and raced Huskies. He's actually worked for a copier, like a office supply company, for the past 20 years. Still stayed active with motorcycles. So this is actually his first time being like a team manager. So it's new management, but actually, like Joey Marr is the mechanic for Andrew DeLong, and he was with the Fred Andrews team for the past. He's been with the Fred Andrews team for quite a number of years now. So in some ways it's new, in some ways it's not.
Wait, and Bolton, I don't know if you know much about this, but you know, from what I observed this weekend, like the two teams don't really interact. Like they're on two totally separate levels at the races and like not even near each other.
Yeah. It was actually, there was kind of a little bit of a parking snafu there. That's why they were parked away from the KTM team. And actually, they did interact some. Tony Hall from the KTM team come over and helped with a couple of little things, but I mean, overall, they are two different teams. They are two different teams. While they are the same company technically, they are two completely different teams.
And I guess by staying that separate, they're trying to keep their own image. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely, they right now, yes, they seem like it's KTM running white bikes that have Husky on. I mean, that everybody says
That's
that,
what
they
everybody
feel that and
says.
stuff. It will not be that way moving forward. I mean, they will be completely separate. It's just that right now, the way that they wanted it to work is they wanted to have a good basis, a great basis to start this newer Husky off of. And so they chose to use their Husabergs, which were a lot like
KTM.
So they were blue KTMs. Now they're just blue and yellow KTMs. But yeah, no, give it 2 years and they'll be vastly different bikes for sure.
Well, I think it's cool to see more teams coming about. When we thought a couple years ago, even it looked like teams were dropping out and companies were pulling out. It looked like things were kind of getting bad, and then we see this year there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of factory teams out there, and that's really cool to see.
Yeah. What from y'all's perspective on that end of the world, what do you guys?
Oh no.
What are we playing with? Am I in trouble?
I was looking at the chat room.
Oh. Yeah. Well, when Chester comes out, everybody loses control of themselves.
Can't help.
I understand. Now I forgot what I was gonna ask. Completely lost my train of thought.
Stop choking your chicken.
Oh, yeah, my gosh, dude, you're just beating that thing up over there.
All right, I'm going back to Pennsylvania. I can't take it.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Well, I'm excited to see Husqvarna, regardless of what it is.
Speaking of Husky, fun fact for you: Mike Brown is racing this weekend.
Yay! I was gonna ask that. That's awesome.
Yep.
He's gonna. Is it gonna be XC1 or XC2?
He's racing XC1. He'll be on a 450, on an FC 450. He
Mike Brown, Husqvarna, rounds 1 and 2, running the number 120.
Number 120. I printed his graphics yesterday.
Why is he running 311? Did somebody already take that?
I think 120's in a group of numbers that are like reserved for
specifically
for guest pros.
Yeah.
Like Russ Bobbitt's also racing. He's running 113.
He's not racing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, he was going to be racing until
Wait, that
he
was going to be interesting to
jacked
see.
up his patella.
That's a bummer.
I had to hurt.
That's okay. We like everybody. So you were having dinner with Mike Brown, and something you've had a lot of the Husky guys there at the shop. What are their kind of thoughts though going into this? Are they, how does everybody feel? Is it just, do they think it's just a learning year, or do they have the feeling that it's not just a learning year, that there's more to it?
Yes, I did have dinner with Mike Brown less than 2 hours ago. Anyway, but they are treated. I mean, it is a full-blown effort, full-blown race here for them. And DeLong, one of the sections this weekend, when DeLong came in, he mentioned how he had really adjusted to the 350, and he come in and he looked at Joey Moore and he looked at Bart Hayes and said, "I think I got something for those boys next weekend." So obviously he's feeling pretty good on the 350. So I mean, you never know. Very well could. He could get up there and give everybody a challenge. He's
Wait,
in the past he's had a couple of times where he was running pretty high in the overall from XC2. So it could happen.
Does he go back to the 450 though?
Nope. He's sticking with the 350.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to ride a kind of souped up 350 XC this past weekend, but the other bike I got to ride was a 2013 250 SX. That was a Supercross bike for Brian Story's team that he was with the 2012 and 2013 East Coast Supercross, and this is the bike that he raced at the ISDE this past year, and been racing locally for a while ever since that kind of team didn't come back this year. But man, that shit was powerful. It was awesome. Like, he put a little bit bigger tank on it, changed the compression a little bit with some gaskets, a little bit thicker gaskets, not so thin, and that bike was awesome for off-road. Obviously suspension as well, but man, I would think that Mike Brown, with how well he does on those 350s with Endurocross, he knows how to ride that size engine, and he'd probably come into play that it's a great bike, and I want one now. And I can't have one because they're too damn expensive. Ah! I don't know. Oh well. So are we going to see a repeat XC1 champion for 2014?
Maybe.
I'm going to say no. I want everybody to give their opinion, yes or no, and then we can filter it out. I say no.
I say it's not impossible.
That's not a yes or no.
Guy.
No. What are you running for president, Bolton?
That's a
Yes or
lame
no?
answer.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say,
The past few years, it's been sort of like a championship defending curse.
Yeah, but with every curse, it's like it has to be broken. Like, at some point, it will be broken.
Yeah, exactly. But
What?
if you look back, Strang won in 2000, or Whibley won in 2009, didn't
Right.
win in 2010. Strang won in 2010, broke his leg at the last race in 2011, got beat by Charlie.
Yep.
Charlie won in 2011, had bad luck in 2012. Whibley won in 2012, had bad luck in 2013. Struggled with injuries. So, Caleb won 2013. Does he break
I've got a very important question.
that, or does he continue with this like bad luck streak for defending champions? Who knows?
What number is he running? Is
He will be running number one.
He's gonna lose
It's the number
every
one
time.
curse.
It's the number one curse.
It's the curse of the number one.
It's real.
Well, in the GNCC handbook, the rules are: do you have to run the number one, or could you choose to run your current number?
You can choose to run a different number if you want to, but realistically,
Sponsors won't like that.
Oh yeah.
if you look at it as a team from a team manager,
Right.
as a team manager, you want your guy to run that number one.
Yeah, Charlie didn't run the number one the year after he won it, and
Oh.
he kind of eventually got pressured into running the number one and switched partway into the season to the number.
Yep.
I remember
Sneak.
David Knight, because he won 07-08, correct? Back to back?
He won 708, yeah.
Yeah.
In 08, when he won that, was that when he was running the 101 with the
With
shadowed one in the middle?
Well,
Yeah.
Yuha did
He
the
ran
same
the-
thing
He
too.
ran the number one with
With
a
a-
shadowed 101 behind
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah.
I copied that because
When Yuha won his two, he still ran the 111, but he ran a big one in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So that's what we need. He needs
That's
to
what he
run
needs
some
to do.
playoff of.
yeah, I ran number
It's-
one time in a local series and I lost. And then another time when I won, I did the David Knight thing, the faded. I ran my normal number, but with the faded number one. That's how you do it.
Yeah, see, when I was overall B, I moved up to the A class, and I had the 1B on mine. I just totally sucked.
When you were
Wow.
on row one, right?
Wish I could have taken that one back. They weren't me being a pro. There was right there. Screwed it
Yeah.
all up. Well, yeah, okay. So no, I don't think that Caleb Russell is going to be a double XC1 champion or two-time back-to-back. Mainly, and not even because of the curse. No, you give a fantastic point there, Bolton, in how you break it down, because yeah, it does make it seem like that. I just think there's too many good riders that are there to be contending every weekend, and as long as they are there every weekend, it's going to be tough.
That is true, but one thing about Caleb, I mean, this is different. He's the only rider to win XC2 back to back.
Good fact.
Yeah, that is a good fact.
Only one that has ever won XC2 2 years in a row.
So he knows how to, I guess,
How to
not.
defend.
Yeah, how to defend. That's a
Yep.
good point. I think that could be the turning point to really make him be possibly the next back to back. Then I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. With the way the layout kind of going on for the series, 13 races. Obviously, we're starting in a new Florida venue. Is that new Florida venue, with it not being the typical venue, it seemed like deep sand, all the whoops, it might have led to somebody having more advantage than others. With this new terrain that they're going to have, this new venue, do you think that it plays in anybody's favor?
Garrett Edmonston. It's Florida. Garrett Edmonston.
Every
You
year.
never count Garrett Edmonston in Florida. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Garrett Edmonston is something like 11 for 11 in FTR right now, so he's doing pretty okay. And I don't know if he's ever actually said exactly what he's doing in Florida, but he's doing something a little bit different, so keep an eye on him.
Well, we've had a lot of shows about meth lately. Is he doing meth? Or
No,
making
he's
it?
not. It has something to do. It has something to do with the bike that he is riding.
Wait, is it a 252 stroke or what?
Yep.
'Cause isn't he riding out of WMR this year?
No, he's still riding. He's still riding a Kawasaki.
Oh, okay.
But if it's a
I thought-
252 stroke and it's a Kawasaki, it's what, like an 05 or an 06?
Yeah, I mean it's one of the last years they made it.
That could be cool.
It is sick.
Oh,
though.
seven.
It's got
07
some
was the last year?
graphics coming, too.
Cooper's full of fun facts.
Does that have like a 500 motor in it? The
Cooper's
Carriage
got a
500
mic
motor?
over there. He's not even saying
I know.
anything.
He's shy.
I wish.
Interesting. Well, what other kind of venues? I noticed when I was looking at the schedule that the CarMate Gusher from last year is still to be determined, or TBA. Is that?
That property is for sale, so it wasn't because they didn't want us to come back. The event went well, but the property may not be in the ownership come fall. So we're still looking for a new venue, but it'll be a It'll be a northern West Virginia or Pennsylvania, same type of terrain kind of area, but it's going to be a new place.
Is it still going to be called the Car Mate Gusher?
It probably will not be called the Gusher.
Oh, that
I
was
know.
my favorite name ever.
We never change venues and keep a name, so I would say
We
it'll
should have
be
people vote on a new name.
Ooh, voting would be fun. Let's get social up in this biatch.
Yeah, prizes.
Text that to Jen Kenyon.
Oh, that's true. Well, she only texts me back, 1 out of 10 times, so she's probably not going to go for any of my ideas. Or in this case, Miss Bailey's idea.
Yeah, I think.
So
other than
you
that,
text her.
we're all the same
Yeah,
places.
it might work.
Maybe.
Send her
Jen?
a couple selfies with Izzy. That's going to win anybody over, I think. Pictures with Izzy. Yeah, you're in. What do you guys think about the schedule this year? Obviously we're going to be back-to-back with Florida and then Georgia, and then it kind of seems like it does the 2-week break, and then we go into the summer break, and then we come back for it. How do you guys feel about the schedule? Being on the East Coast, you guys have done this for so long. Anything that we who are going to be watching this on the webcast and not able to attend a lot of these races, things that we should kind of, be diligently paying attention for?
It's good. All the old favorites are back. We do have a new Florida race, and for the time being, Kentucky is out and Loretta's is back.
Right.
Right, I was going to ask about that.
That's
Loretta's
the-
is back in the middle of the season versus the end that we saw the last
Yes.
couple of years. What is
Yeah,
the weather?
It's back in kind of its traditional spot.
Yeah. Yeah, what about, because, 2011 we saw it rained out twice. Was that the year? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what's the weather going to be like that time of year?
It's probably going to rain.
Well,
It's probably going to be in November like it should be because it's going to get rained out.
It rained at every single one last year, so it's probably going to rain.
Loretta's
All right.
is still actually just a hair bit later than what it was several years ago. It's actually at the beginning of May. It was originally scheduled in its traditional weekend as round 5, but switched it around with the limestone in Indiana because it's really close to a university, which is graduating that weekend.
And what you're
This,
saying is you
Mars-
don't want a bunch of hillbilly dirt bike racers around for college graduation parties, or
Well,
It's a hotel
it's a-
situation.
yeah.
I was about to say I'm really good at keg stands. I can show some people up.
I would too. So
But aside from that, it's a pretty normal schedule, and with 2-week breaks, it's not like we stay out on the road anyways, so they could do it in almost any order they wanted to, and we'd just be driving from home every time anyways.
Right, which is nice. Does that make it easier on you guys, or is that actually harder?
it's about the same, really.
Yeah, I still do supercrosses in between all of them, so
That's a solid point. Yeah.
I'm still going somewhere. It's just if I'm driving to a GNCC or flying to a supercross.
Yep, understood. We had a good comment in the chat room, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about this. Cooper was talking about the fact that Strang's going to be back on a factory-supported team, which is the Ampro Yamaha team. He's still under his Rocky Mountain ATV MC banner, but he's essentially what I think a lot of people call him kind of like factory-supported team. So he still has his little team, but it's supported by the Ampro guys. One of the things that I've heard in the past, now I don't know if this is true. I've met and talked with Strang and stuff like that, but I don't know him personally, so I don't know how much this comes into play. But I've heard that he isn't the best tester, that he has a lot of trouble making small improvements and knowing when to make those adjustments. And that might have come into play with the Kawasaki and the team that he ran last year, because of the fact of just like the mass support and the people with a lot of brains to kind of help him make some of those smaller decisions weren't there. Now that he's going to have that kind of support and people to be able to do that with him at the Ampro Yamaha team, especially guys like Randy Hawkins, I think it's going to be pretty bitchin'. But do you guys, what do you guys think about, kind of Strang being one on the newly revised, reversed, YZ450 with a dry brake tank that's probably going to break his dick off, and then being on the Ampro team and all this kind of stuff.
Well, I think that's a huge help for Strang, because he was so used to, when he first came here, he was so used to being with the factory Suzuki team, and he was with the factory Suzuki team for several years. He was used to having everything was done for him, and then all of a sudden the Suzuki team was no more, and that kind of leaves him, that leaves him with nothing. He ended up with the RPM KTM team, which is, it's a good team, but some of it's still on you, yourself as the rider, to kind of put some things together. So he struggled with that a little bit, obviously. And then last year, he came back with the Rocky Mountain Kawasaki deal and had a lot of help from Jimmy Jarrett. Obviously, Jimmy knows a thing or two, but it's still not. It still wasn't a full blown. It still wasn't a true factory effort with some sort of factory backing. Now he's got some sort of factory backing, which I think is definitely going to help him, because he's already been working with the AmPro people a good bit over the winter. So it's definitely going to benefit him a lot having that factory team to help him out.
I think having Whibley there with him also, I mean, Whibley's an animal, someone to train with, someone who is really good at making adjustments and testing. I think that'll help String a lot too.
Yeah,
but will they share that information? That's the question.
Eh.
I mean, the way that what I've gathered from talking to a lot of the guys that ride on the AmPro team and that are involved with Randy Hawkins and going to the farm and stuff like that, they're a big family. Like, they don't, it's not that they're all out there doing their own thing and then, so I wouldn't think that there'd be an issue there.
Right. I've seen it, and they're definitely a family. Everyone supports each other. Everyone helps each other. So I would say that Paul would be willing to give up some of his stuff. I mean, he shared it with, when I was there, he shared it with, the A riders and stuff like that. So I just don't see him being the kind of guy that would keep that from String, if that would help him to get faster or better.
Yeah.
And
look at Ricky Russell. Like, he was kind of like Paul Whibley's Padawan last year, and he is an animal now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that'll be good to have Whibley there, kind of just to train with, especially because he's an incredible trainer, and then just to have for that kind of stuff, testing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you guys, being longtime Yamaha fanatics, have you guys had a chance to ride or see the new 450s in person?
Have not rode, nope.
It'd be interesting to hear some of the differences. What about, maybe you guys could help this too, the dry brake situation and the kind of the oversized tank. Now, I know that IMS has been working on it. We got a lot of other different people working on it. Has there been any kind of confirmation that somebody has it at least dialed for this weekend? Are there bikes with dry brake tanks on them? Or I should rephrase that. Are there YZ 450s with dry brake on them?
It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a factory team, so they've got something.
What does he know?
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. They've got something.
So is it the dick breaker that we saw online? Because that shit was awesome.
It could be. Maybe they got something different.
Or maybe...
Maybe they've got something really cool. I don't know. I'm just picking stuff.
It's always fun when you try to sound smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the last I read that it was supposed to be going into production soon, but I have no idea.
They have 75 of them.
Oh.
I don't know.
What'd you say?
I said they have 75 of them.
And that's a lot. That's a random bolt-on adventure number.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's a number that I made up. I don't know how many they have.
Yeah, I wouldn't think to trust you either. But everybody needs a redheaded stepchild, and we have you.
Exactly.
And I'm very thankful for that fact. Well, what other fun riders have you guys got out there that, obviously said, Jeremy, that you guys have a list of all these guys that you were watching. Within all that kind of chatter in the office and stuff like that, what are some of the expectations and who are some people chatting about?
Oh, I don't know. I'm never at the office. I mean, obviously Thad, Thad deal for us this year with the AMSOIL program and AMSOIL, being the series sponsor. So we're all pretty pumped on him, and then it should be interesting to see what Charlie does. It's coming so close last year, and I know he's been training pretty hard, so I'd like to see him get back up there again.
Mullet Bob.
Mullet Bob.
Bullet Bob.
Well, that's not made up. That is a real person.
I don't know if I believe you.
I'm dead serious. Mullet Bob is like the coolest. Like, Mullet Bob is a badass.
Yeah, we can actually look Mullet Bob up in the results.
It literally,
It is
it
literally
he is
in there.
literally listed as Mullet Bob Alamo.
That's pretty dark.
I'm not kidding you.
Well, before we kind of start to wrap it up and figure out some more of the last bits here for the GNCC preseason show, I wanted to know if Bolt-On had any specifics since you're on about Ride PG, because obviously they are a fantastic sponsor here of the seat time, and obviously with our discount code you can save some money, which is fantastic. That discount code is seat time. One word. If you're ordering online or if you're calling, you can just ask them and be like, I would like the seat time discount. If they say no, then you punch them through the phone and you get it. But so we always like to give you the chance, Bolt-On, when you're on, if there's any special deals that you guys are running or new promotions or anything like that.
Right now it's pretty much just we've actually been really, really, really busy here the past few weeks with everybody getting in a lot of last minute stuff before the race season begins, and it's been really tough. We had a graphic designer leave us. I don't know. It's been a couple of months now. Leave us kind of dishonestly, and actually, what we've done instead of going and hiring somebody is that I have actually jumped in and started helping design stuff. Just some of the easier stuff as far as just number plate backgrounds and ready to ship kits and all of that good stuff. So, don't make me mad or I might mess up your graphics on purpose.
It's ridiculous. I don't want you to mess up my graphics at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually do that.
Not nice.
Doesn't sound fun. Well, Zach, are you going to be making it to any of the GNCCs? You got a couple up there by you, don't you?
Probably after I graduate in May, then, I can travel anywhere I want to as far as, for races and stuff. But, I hope to. I haven't been to one in a long time. I think the last time was Unadilla a couple years ago. But yeah, it's about time.
I would agree. I want to go. I think it'll be fun. It's neat that Loretta Lynn's is back. That's like a 9.5-hour drive, 9-hour drive.
Closest one to us.
Yay! Sounds awesome. But, I'd like to be able to make that. Obviously, if the whole big buck thing works out, that would be freaking sweet. I'm excited. I know that it looks like, Jeremy's back. Okay, good. So, Jeremy, I know you guys said you're switching over to live stream. It's going to be racertv.com. Give us some more specifics if you've got them on how and when people can kind of tune in for all of the GNCC action.
Yep, racertv.com, 1 o'clock p.m. Local race time, any GNCC race day. I think Loretta's might be our only central time zone. I think the rest will be in the eastern time zone. So most of the time, 1 o'clock Eastern, racertv.com, and it'll be right there on the homepage. And then we're all social media upped this year, so we've got Racer TV on Instagram and on Twitter, and we've been putting some stuff up on the YouTube. And then, of course, all of the shows from NBC Sports Network and MAV TV and everything else we produce is always up there on the website. So lots of stuff to find on racertv.com.
Very cool. Well, I'm excited. What up, besides posting things to Instagram like my co-host is doing currently? It is a good picture. It's a picture of us with Izzy. So it's fantastic. Little Izzy's getting all famous. What other kinds of fun stuff are we looking forward to this year for GNCC or just racing in general? What other stuff should we start looking at for this year to cover?
Are you doing that UTV thing if you go to Big Buck?
The what TV?
No. The UTV.
stuff.
We need to find one. We got to get one to race. Me and you, Woody.
KR4.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Woody.
I was like, yeah.
Big Buck.
I was sorry when you said I heard UTV. I literally thought of some other streaming service, not of the genre of vehicle of the utility vehicle.
Get out of the web developer mode.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what he's. Oh my God, I didn't get hired for anything like that. That is definitely one of the things that we're chatting about, is trying to figure out a way for us to go and to race the UTVs on Saturday, and then do some dirt bike racing on Sunday. So obviously there are only one program that does that. That would be KR4. So nothing's solidified, but as we're trying to make it happen, that's kind of the way it's going. Actually, screw it. We'll go ahead and ask right now. What I have had is an idea in my head that there are a lot of people out there that travel a lot, and they probably get or accumulate air miles, or maybe credit card points that go towards air, that could go toward air miles. And there are also people who use those and those who don't. And if you're one of the people that don't use them or don't use all of them, please contact us, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody that might want to donate some of those air miles to us, so that we can make it out to this event. Because obviously, with all the fact that we're trying to do all the funding we're doing right now to try to pay for some of the expenses it costs into getting more equipment and things for the studio and stuff like that, we don't have the capital to just buy $600 worth of plane tickets to go out to this event to take part in this. But if somebody out there was really big into the scene and wanted to help donate something like that, obviously we would figure out a way to work it in and try to kind of sponsor it up a little bit. So yeah, if you guys are interested, that's what we're trying to figure out. So what's her Instagram in the chat room? What's your Instagram, Miss Bailey?
JMil, JMIL,
J
98. No,
Milf?
no.
J Milfbanger.
No. Just MIL.
I think I just had a new brand name.
How about I just put it in the chat room? That might be easier.
J Milfbanger. Yep. So when everybody goes to J Milfbanger, you're going to start seeing pictures of Bolt-On's cock.
This one,
Look.
you can already see it.
This account has been suspended.
That's definitely the one that I was referring to. If we start seeing pictures of the other one, we know that Instagram's censorship is gone downhill. That they're now allowing smaller cocks in public.
This is the only cock I have. I don't have any other ceramic chickens. Or live chickens.
Do you want to? Okay, so I would assume this is a little off topic, but I would want to say that would be a garden thing, right? You would maybe, if someone were to purchase that, they would purchase it to
What category is
to
that?
sex up their garden.
I'm assuming so, but I did not purchase it, and it does not go in my garden.
Okay, well. This was given to me by God!
It was. God said, Bolt-On, look over there on the other side of that fence next to the motocross track at Aonia Pass. And sure enough, I did. And this guy was just hanging out right there, all lonely.
You're like, I feel like taking this cock home.
I did. Actually, I used to block the trail first, but yeah.
Nobody wants to run over a cock.
Exactly.
Right. So, but what's funny is I think that these little gnome features, if you will, things you would go ahead and purchase for your garden, they get a little weird sometimes. You see some eccentric ones, if you will. The most off the wall one that I've ever seen is, and unfortunately it comes across very racist, but it's funny as hell, is this one of a little black boy sitting there, and he's got like overalls on and no shirt, and he's all hunched over, and he's just biting into a big old slice of watermelon. And I was just like, I immediately was like, who the hell thought it was okay to make that?
And who buys that?
Yeah, so who makes that? And then who goes to big...
At a Waffle House in Atlanta.
Yeah, who goes into Big Lots and buys that thing? Like, so I just thought that it was, that had to be brought up. So it was... I saw it it was a white elephant gift at a at a Christmas party, and it was funny how many people were fighting over it. Like, they wanted to take that home.
Well, damn, she's
I didn't, because I already won a blow-up doll, but so it's interesting. Friend requests.
Is that what it's called on Instagram? Probably not. Follow
requests. Are you blocked?
I am private.
All right, this is a great discussion, especially if anybody else out there has privates. private Instagram account. Why does someone have a private Instagram account?
So that creeps can't see my photos. Not a good enough answer.
Isn't that what?
He was looking for some complex answer.
I just really think that's
Obviously, so
what
people
it's for.
That's what it's for?
That's what I think. I mean, well, here's the weird question. Are you posting a bunch of pictures where you feel like people would want to creep?
No. I don't know why it's private, I guess. So I can filter who I want people to see my pictures.
You're like, unless you have a dirt bike in your profile picture, you're not getting in here.
Yeah, it's real tight restrictions to be my follower.
Yep, I hear that. I'm not. I'm public on everything. I am the most open book out there. It may not be a book people want to read, but it's out there. What do you think, Bolton? Why would people out there want to have a private Instagram account?
I don't know. I've asked that for like ever. Dating back to before Instagram existed, dating back to before Twitter existed, dating back to before Facebook was big.
MySpace.
Basically, back to the MySpace days.
Top 8.
What about you, Sailor?
It concerns me because I've always thought all I want to do is creep on you a little bit and learn who you are.
That's true. You know what's funny is I'm private, but I get frustrated when other people are private. I'm like, I just want to look at your pictures. Who are you? And I don't want to friend you because then I look creepy. That's me.
That's your dilemma.
I'm a hypocrite.
Welcome to life, people. Welcome to life. Well, all right, Jeremy, as we wrap it up, what's the coolest thing you've seen lately about 2014 that gets you excited?
Oh man, I don't know.
It doesn't have to be anything specific. It could be nothing. It doesn't even have to be a dirt bike thing.
I don't sleep a whole lot, so this is a struggle.
So when you see like melatonin tablets, that gets you excited?
I got the iPad Mini with Retina display.
Ooh!
Yeah, and I'm trying something. I'm doing an experiment. I got it on T-Mobile.
If you take a picture with a Retina iPad of your penis, does it look bigger?
Yes.
Because it's double pixel density.
Yes, double pixel density. You need all the density you can get. I don't know. Supercross has been pretty cool this year. All the different winners in the 450 class has made it pretty exciting.
Yeah, but Villapoto's still starting to. I mean, he's already a full race point wise up on everybody except Dungy, which is 23 points.
I saw something cool this morning that somebody posted, and it was a way to recalculate the points that took into account semi-wins, heat wins, and hole shots.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Villapoto was still winning the points because he has won the races and he's won the heat races. But it puts Stewart very, very close to him because Stewart has led a lot of laps. And he's also been qualifying very well.
True that. Yeah, that would be
kind
interesting.
of interesting to think. It would be cool, if you look at NASCAR or any other series like that. NASCAR, you gain points if you lead a lap of the race, and it gives incentive to race more than just the race for second place. And Villapoto, while he's been very consistent all year, he's not winning the races. And I think that there should be more emphasis on winning the races, even if it is winning the heat races and the semi-races. I mean, hell, it would give Mike Alessi some points.
Especially the past two events where he's gotten quite a few hole shots and actually led some laps and stuff like that. That's interesting. That's a really cool way to look at it. I've always wondered that too because of like the World Cup downhill. When they do qualifying and seed runs and stuff like that, they get X amount of points that wind. Obviously, it's nowhere near as heavy as the amount of points they would get for winning the event. But they actually, that way they're not. Because what happens is that if they know the next day when it's going to be raining, they're going to go out there and they're going to stop on the course so they have a shitty qualifying time. So they go out first so they could try to beat the rain. Because if you have a crappy qualifying time, you would then ride first. Where if you have a really good qualifying time, you would ride last. And so if it looks like it's going to rain later in the day when they would think that they would be going, they would just have a shitty qualifying time. So to try to elude, keep people from doing that, they, give points for qualifying. So that's
I think it'd make it more interesting.
Really cool. Oh my gosh.
At least.
Yeah. The other cool thing about Supercross this year is the return of the semis, and so now the races to qualify for the main event, you have to. If you don't make it out of your heat, you're racing against different people in your semi.
Yeah, because they kind of filter the people, right? They don't just go from like your heat to your semi.
It's every other finisher out of the heat race goes to the opposite semi races.
Yeah, I've
That's
really
cool.
enjoyed the semis. I kind of agree with everybody that the heat feels too short, but I would rather keep it with the semis the way it is than go back to the way it was, even though the heat still feels like 1 or 2 laps too short. TV wise, I get it, so I would rather keep it the way it is.
Getting the 3 hours of live coverage on FS1 has been awesome for the sport, but at the same time, it's just the night program is insane, especially on our end. All the stuff that's happening in between the races to make it happen, it's pretty crazy this year. But I do think the racing's been a lot more exciting, and I'm with you. I wouldn't give up the semis.
Yeah. Bitchin'. Well, then I guess we just need to figure out how to get me in a Sasquatch suit out at a couple GNCCs
Yeah.
with a couple cans of Miller Lite or something.
Classic cans of Miller Lite.
Yeah, what is up with that? I guess they're kind of going vintage.
Yeah, I hope they keep it. It's awesome.
They look cool. I think it's a fantastic piece of work, like the design that goes into that label. All right, well, we'll start closing it up here. Mr. Zach Huberty, what do you have to say? Any lasting, longing words of wisdom?
No, really don't. It's been a long day. I drove like 7 hours this morning to get back home, and then just been busy ever since.
Sailor just drove 500 miles.
Yeah, suck it.
Good for him.
I'm here tomorrow.
All right, well, where can people get in touch with you and follow you on all your little social bits?
My little social bits. I mean, for everything Innovation Off-Road, it's just either like at Innovation Off-Road or Twitter. It's IO_media. Same with Facebook. And then personally, just look up, it's usually Zach Huberty 323, and that's what all the social media accounts are.
Dig it.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in Texas. Are you flying in and coming to the house and riding with us, or did you figure out what you're doing yet?
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. I still haven't bought my flights. Last time I looked, it was like $250 round trip. So gotta do that, and then gotta figure out whether I'm riding or not. And
Oh, you're riding it, you son of a bitch.
yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed actually like covering from the media side this weekend. Just like a whole different perspective.
Well, I think if you're gonna do the media side of it, then you should make the race all about me. You should be like, cover the National Enduro from the perspective of such an out of shape, sexy son of a bitch like myself.
Do that for about 6 months, and you'll just want to race again.
He'll probably just do it for one
that
race.
may happen after just the weekend.
Yeah. Following me around is pretty much going to guarantee he's going to race again very quickly.
I may kick him off the bike.
Damn it. That would suck.
Since you were Biggins in November.
All right. And then Mr. Sailor, I know you've got some personal bits as well in the world of social bits.
Yeah, I have the social things. Basically, at JS Sailor on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that other crap. And I try to come into the old Seat Time chat room when I can.
Yeah.
And, the hashtag Sailor Life. It's usually the best adventures of Sailor.
Soon to get weirder once Bolt-On starts giving you some of his advice.
Well, it's going to get weirder just because we're going back to GNCC, and when we get back out in the woods, things get a little strange.
Yeah. Just like finding all the used condoms at the top of all the announcing towers.
Only at Loretta's.
Such a strange world we live in. It's like there's a trash can right there. But no, leave your mark everywhere. Well, what about you? You're Jay Milfbanger.
No.
Absolutely not.
I'm not. It's just J Mill. MIL. Nothing else
And what's
except
the
for
numbers?
98.
98. J
Yeah.
Mill 98. Obviously, if those guys, It's fun because we have all of our seat time crap all over the place. So if you want to find us on the website, it's seattime.co. It's where we archive all the sites, post all of our little fun bits that go on there. Of course, we're on Facebook, facebook.com/seattime. You find us on Twitter. It's _CO is our Twitter handle. We are on Instagram. It's just regular old seat time. If you're looking for myself for some more random fun pictures of what goes on with that's not just seat time and how many fun faces my son and I, Liam, like to make, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Woody B. Pierced. I'm not going to spell that for you. I'm going to let you get creative and figure it out. I definitely appreciate everybody, not just that's watching, listening, or archiving, but everybody that's been on the show. It's been a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a great season of GNCC racing. I have loved all the webcasts that have been going on for the past 2 years. I'm looking forward to another fun year of it. I think it's going to be a cool new upgrade with going to live stream.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited for this year. I'm looking forward to National Enduros too. It's going to be cool to see how all this works out. Anybody with some last thoughts besides Jared Bolton, who's voguing?
That's my thought right there.
I'm just overwhelmed being beside Jared Bolton on a couch, so I don't have anything else.
Can everybody raise their hands in that picture though? I just want to make sure they're all.
Hand check.
Oh. Okay. Now we're good. That's fine. I just wanted to make sure no ski pole was going.
Crap, your cock is heavy.
That is the heaviest cock.
I did not realize your cock was this heavy.
Cock is huge.
Wow.
It is.
That is one of the largest, whitest cocks I've ever seen.
I think that's the double pixel density cock right there.
All right, we'll put that on your J Milfbanger Instagram account. Oh, Bolton, you and your double density white cock.
Girth.
All right, Zach, on the other end, we appreciate you guys being here. Thanks, have fun. Remember, always enjoy a Pintful of Awesome. There should be a baby coming, so we will keep you guys updated on how things go and if we're going to have an episode next Tuesday and all that kinds of stuff. Thank you, Miss Bailey, for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with all my shenanigans and all of our
it's awesome.
co-hosts' shenanigans as well. Yes, they're good people.
Banger.
That one's never going away. It's here to stay.
It's gonna become a hashtag.
Episode name, J Milfbanger.
My parents would be real proud of this one.
Yeah. It's okay. It's alright.
Just kidding. They don't watch anything.
Alright. So now that we've randomly decided to keep this episode going as long as possible, I want to say thank you very much for watching. Hopefully the YouTube going live with YouTube worked out for everybody. We're going to check it out here and push some buttons and see how it went. So thank you. We'll see you soon.
See you next Tuesday.
Peace.